Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we turn to talking about two big topics that are hitting the scene in the past week, specifically coming out of California. Recently, there's been a slew of wildfires over there that have gotten really out of hand. And one of the incidents that caused the fires initially is something rather trivial, actually. I mean, these things are getting really popular, and I'm sure they're important to the parents throwing these kinds of parties, but they've certainly gone too far, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Today, we're talking about gender reveal parties. For those who don't know, when people have a baby, they get pregnant at some point along the way, they take a test, find out what the gender is, and then they have this big party to surprise everyone. They essentially get the doctor to put the results in an envelope, and then they pick some way to reveal it to them and their friends at a big event. Usually it's just maybe a few people, a few friends from your close family. Sometimes it's even a big party. It just depends on how far you want to go, and clearly things have been going really far. This is a big trend recently that's actually caused this new controversy. You see, originally the gender reveal parties were just simple things like, oh, you open a box and it has a bunch of balloons. If the balloons are blue, it's a boy. If the balloons are pink, it's a girl. Pretty simple. And other things have happened like that too. Like sometimes they give you like a black balloon or like a neutral color balloon, and when you pop it, confetti pops out with the right color for the right baby. Now, this is a fun thing on its own, but what's happened recently is they've gone too far and they've turned these events into like big fireworks exhibits. They've decided to up the ante from balloons and confetti to shooting off fireworks, and naturally that's a bad idea in a very dry, very ready to burn place like California. California is super hot. It's basically halfway in the desert, and it has lots of things to catch on fire because, for one, they're not managing their forest properly. We're going to get more to that soon. We're going to get into more details, and also how these fires are even getting blamed on a very nefarious term and concept called climate change. Of course, we're not denying that exists, but the left certainly likes to use climate change and global warming as an excuse to enact their own policies. And today is another example of that. We're going to talk about the reveal parties, the fires, and the spin real soon. But first, let's take a quick moment to check out our sponsor. In this day and age, it's a really scary time to be a cop or law enforcement in the United States of America. There's a lot of anti-cop rhetoric going around out there, so we need to support our boys in blue more now than ever. That's why today I'm offering you guys this free police coin that is available only to the NoBS audience. All you have to do is pay for shipping, and you can be the proud owner of this beautiful golden coin that represents the police officers in our country, the true heroes of our day and age. The Brave Patriot is offering this deal for a limited time, so get your free coin today. Make sure you click on our exclusive link below this video, and again, they're free. You only have to pay the shipping, so make sure you check out the link below this video, and thanks for your time. Now, back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's turn to this first story. This one comes from CNN. It says, a pyrotechnic device at a gender reveal party sparked one of the California wildfires, burning over 8,000 acres. That's terrible. We don't want this to happen, even in California. You know, say what you want about these other states. You might not like the left ones. The far West Coast left-wingers are some of the worst out there, but you don't want this in any part of the country, any part of the world. Fires are bad. They're dangerous. They're killing nature, possibly, ruining property and hurting people and stuff like that too. So this is a bad case of just a party gone wrong. And the other part about this story before we get to this new one is this actually happened before. This happened a year or two ago with another gender reveal party. These things are clearly getting out of hand. I don't know how they can lock this down. I think maybe they need to come up with some more rules about fireworks in certain areas specifically. But regardless, this has happened before. This is happening again. And this is just the beginning of this story. These gender reveal parties are getting out of hand left and right. We have another one we're going to get to soon. And it's just essentially this kind of trend. I mean, this is something that's happened before, but there used to just be things like baby showers. You might have a celebration announcement that you're pregnant or something like that. But the reveal thing is becoming a big trend, and it's actually getting some pushback, as you might imagine. I mean, here's the problem. You got to remember, the left doesn't even believe in gender anymore. They don't even believe in these concepts. They've totally gone anti-science and rationality. And that's why it's like actually becoming a thing. Another side note on this story, there's a lot of angles here. And one I want to mention before we get to this article, it was Trevor Noah made a very, very funny take on this. He's the very, very terrible comedian, like who doesn't make people laugh anymore. That's the thing. He took over the Daily Show about 5 years ago and he's completely ruined it. He's turned it into this total political woke fest, and it's super, super lame because he goes full anti-America like most Democrats, and that's to be expected. But what sucks about Trevor Noah is he's not even an American. He's from South Africa. He's like this mixed guy from South Africa who tries to act woke and super black, and he bashes the United States, and it's just super cringe. And the quote that he said regarding this was, something like, how do we have a gender reveal party when the kid hasn't even grown up and decided what their gender is? Like totally caving into this left-wing idea that everything's fluid and you can transition openly and freely. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with people that want to do that, but there's still a gender for your baby. People still want to know. It's like, yeah, we know that's going on in these far left places especially, but for Trevor Noah to push that nonsense and to take that kind of stance was really extreme and lame, and it just shows how lame and far gone this whole story has become. One of the multiple wildfires burning in California was started during a gender reveal party, officials said. A smoke-generating pyrotechnic device used at the party sparked the El Dorado fire in San Bernardino County, California. Cal Fire said in a press release. The fire started on Saturday at the El Dorado Ranch Park and spread from the park north to the ridge, and according to the release, the fire has since grown to 8,000 acres as of Monday and is just 7% contained, according to the San Bernardino National Forest. So this is something that's still going on. I'm not sure. This article might be a few days late too. I believe this happened some point last week, but it's still something worth catching up on. Specifically, the reason I want to catch up on it is not just the Trevor Noah and the gender reveal side, but also the wildfire side. Like, as you can see by this picture, as you can see by the news lately, like there's a lot of wildfires in California for a couple weeks now, and it's happening along the West Coast. It's happening across the country, really. And the real reason is pretty obvious. We're just in a very dry, very hot time of year. The end of August, beginning of September tends to be some of the hottest parts. They call it the Indian summer is what they used to call it. Like the end of September can sometimes be even hotter than the middle of the summer. But, regardless of titles, it's a big phenomenon. And one of the worst parts is the left-wing spin and them trying to turn to climate change and say, hey, this is because of climate change. This is because, the global warming, and now we need to vote in more Democrats so that we can have this Green New Deal stuff and save the environment. There's a very, very clear line of logic there that they try to just lightly play up in the beginning saying, this is because of climate change, but they don't know that. They don't have the facts on that. They're just guessing. They're just trying to use like faux common sense is what I call it sometimes, just like anti-pseudo-intellectual stuff. Like they kind of basically just use the idea that, the fires are happening because it's hot. There's global warming. So that's what's causing the fires, ipso facto. But that's not really how you directly prove that. And as far as global warming, I mean, the world's temperature has changed drastically over many millions of years. It happens for a variety of reasons. And the implication with the modern left-wing attack on it is that it's because of fossil fuels and because of, cow farts and other man-made reasons. And that's really the debate on it. It's not like people are saying it's a total hoax, at least not people that I follow or talk about or the way I feel about it. I'm not saying it's not possibly happening. I'm just saying we don't know why it's happening and we don't know the solutions clearly yet either. Like they pretend if we all drive electric cars, that's going to save everything. But I really, really don't think that would have stopped these fires. Particularly, this one was started by a gender reveal party, started by like fireworks and people playing with fire, literally. And the other thing is, the other reason for a lot of these fires that people don't really want to admit is poor management of the forest. And that comes down to bad Democratic leadership in places like California, Oregon, Washington. All the West Coast states have terrible, terrible fires right now. And it's because they're not managing their forest properly. What you got to do here is, for those who don't know, I mean, I'm not a total expert, but from my understanding, and I've actually looked into it, is just, you got to cut down old trees once in a while. You got to manage your forest. You got to cut lines between forests so that fires can't spread too quickly. Like they basically make little dividers in between different parts of the woods, like here or there. They could cut it up, and that way the fire doesn't jump and it has a little quadrant that it stays in. And there's just little things like that. It's not easy to do. Obviously, you have to get in these woods. You got to hire, loggers and other people, designers, maybe even like whatever, some kind of forest architect to build the plan out. But when it's done properly, it doesn't happen. And that's why it's not happening in places like Canada. Let me go ahead and bring up the wildfire map. So this is the problem with the whole idea that it's like global warming. Is the truth is it's really stops mostly at the Canadian border. Like I believe there's a few up here, and I know it's certainly cooler up to the north, but it really just seems like it's a California, Oregon, Washington phenomenon. I mean, it happens in a lot of other places. It can happen anywhere, but the truth is it stops at Canada. It stops outside of California and other places, probably a few places close by too. But yeah, it doesn't happen everywhere. It's not as global warming influenced as they claim. It's really poor forest management. It's poor democratic leadership. And that's like a real answer. We're not talking about some kind of boogeyman. I'm not talking about like, oh, this mystical climate change that most people can't even fully explain. It's like, no, I'm talking about real solutions to these forest problems. And, it almost makes you think like they're causing the problems on purpose so they can blame it on someone else. And that's another angle to the story. There are proven instances of people starting fires on purpose. Like, and that's not a joke. I've seen the videos. I actually can't even show them here because a lot of these liberal-led outlets are censoring the videos and the proof and the evidence that the fires are being started by radical leftists, by Antifa people, by people trying to make things look worse. It's the same kind of tactic they did with the protests, and they did it with the pandemic. They're trying to make everything look worse. They're trying to blow things up, just tear down the whole country. That way they can possibly maybe win the presidential election in November, which of course is just less than 50 days away now. It's less than 2 months. It's coming really soon, and the left is really pulling out all the stops. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to get back to that other story. I want to talk about gender reveals going wrong. Specifically, this is really like a two-pronged story. And the last thing I'll mention is viral video shows gender reveal flare hitting dad in the crotch. So that looks pretty painful. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. And it just goes to show that, yeah, these things are going way too far. They're getting more elaborate and just over the top, and they don't need to be. I mean, I guess this is the video, but yeah, they have these little poppers. They shoot out like things, and apparently he got hit in the nether regions, and that's a bad story, but it's just another example of why this thing is getting out of hand, and people need to settle down a little bit and be careful too. I mean, this is like, there's a kid right there by him. I know this seems safe, but that's the thing. Like, honestly, I wasn't going to say, but I just had a gender reveal party. I don't know if anyone knows this, but we're pregnant. We're having a kid later this year. We had the party and we just did the simple balloons. It's not that big a deal. Like, balloons are great. You open the box and a bunch of them pop out. We had the store set it up for us and they were really helpful, and that's all you need. You might want to go for a few other things. You could do some different kinds of balloons. You could do, I don't know, a video or a song or something. Like, I don't know how else you could do it, but the main thing is stay away from these like pyrotechnics and these shooting, popping things, and especially don't do fireworks in the middle of the hottest summer on record, and then we'll all be fine. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Also hit that like button to get this video shared. Subscribe if you're new, and hit the bell for notifications too. Until next time, have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow.